Hi, I'm Nicole Nugent, Curator of Education here at the Mackenzie Art Gallery.
And my name is Amy Milan, and I play in the band Stars, Broken Social Scene, and I also have 3 solo albums.
And together, we're co-curators of the exhibition All That We Need Is in This Room. All That We Need Is in This Room is about collaboration. It's about the ways we can come together to create something bigger than we can alone. And it's about taking time to honor that. I think it was about, 2.5, 3 years ago when I first started thinking about how important it is that we have opportunities to celebrate coming together.
Nicole calls me up and says, I'm kind of interested in doing this thing about collaboration. Just something that she whispered, nearly 2 years ago, and now something just that whisper to another person can create this room together. So it's alchemy, it's magic. This is harder to explain. There's no better way to explain it than it's magical. When I first started to write music, it was alone in the university times of being quite lonely, and it created some okay work, but it didn't bring me a lot of joy. It wasn't until I started to collaborate with my friends and get in a room together and be able to bounce off one another, and it created some of the most joyful, beautiful music that I've continued through my life.
When we come together, we become these beautiful mirrors for each other. That's what creates the magic. That idea of learning about ourselves through others in the act of creation. My experience of Skeena Reese's artwork, Touch Me, has stayed with me. And in this video, Skeena, the artist herself, is bathing Sandra Semchuk in this really tender act of care. Skeena shared with me that this work is this master gesture that encompasses communities' abilities to still feel and give love. Visitors end up being witnesses to that, and that's a very moving, collaborative gesture. Artist Moira Williams has created this outstandingly joyful, engaging Crypt Karaoke Lounge in their artwork called Blood Songs and Oracles, Crypt Karaoke Lounge. This environment that the artist has created for us is a space to play, to sing, to collaborate. They hosted workshops with artists of mixed disabilities to create these songs that reflect the things that those individuals want to see in the world, and those are projected on the wall. Unsettled Bodies Collective is a collective with artists Sylvia Zeman and Yuji Zero Lee. Sylvia became Yuji's mentor, and they started to create these drawings where one would draw an image and then they would give it to the other person and they would add to that image, and they started creating these amazingly beautiful worlds that reflect ideas of identity and transformation and imagination, joy. They're so bright. After the mentorship program, they decided they had so much fun, they wanted to keep working together. And I was really inspired by that dynamic that they have and wanted to include them in the exhibition.
With Ava Roth, I had seen something actually on Instagram that Sarah Polly posted, and it was of her work with bees, and that to me was such a fascinating collaboration, is when you are going outside of the world of humans and going into the world of the environment, working with a species that doesn't speak the English language, and you have to speak a different kind of language with them, and you have to play with them in ways that I just find incredible how she's able to make these pieces, and especially too right now with our relationship to the environment, the crisis of the environment, that these pieces are so important to touch on with how we can communicate that's outside of a language that we maybe understand.
In Damian Rogers' artwork, we are experiencing an immersive installation that is referencing the relationship that Damian had with her mom. Her mom, when she found out that she had been diagnosed with frontal lobe dementia, she started creating these lists of animal names that Damian writes about in her memoir.
What I loved about the idea of bringing Damien into the show is her collaboration with her mother who's passed away, and how we can still kind of convene with the past people of our lives, and how that is helpful in dealing with grief and guilt and love and the lives you've shared together, and that you can continue to do that in collaboration.
What I really hope that visitors are going to take away from this exhibition is thinking through the idea of life being a room. If life is this big room, like really thinking about all of the people that come in and out of that room and how we hold space for each other. And all of these artworks give us totally different experiences of what that room can look and feel like and sound like. That's just really my hope for people, to be able to have those different experiences. And they'll find something that's going to really help them reflect on those experiences that they bring into the gallery as well, and their thoughts about collaboration and what it means to come together.
That was always actually my favorite part of Sesame Street. Do you remember that Sesame Street where they'd be like, "This is your life," and it would be like everyone coming into the room, and it's like, "I'm the toast that made you like built you up that day," and it was like, "This was your teacher." Like that was for some reason I was always obsessed with all the people coming into the room of like how this person's life had been collaborated with. So that's funny, I can relate.
That's what we're doing.
I know.